Roger Stone joins us. Talk about vindicated. They said we were crazy. We made it up. Nobody was spying on anybody in the Trump campaign. Turns out Roger Stone was FISA'd. Turns out Clapper lied, Comey lied. Trump was spied on via the NSA. The Justice Department had criminal stuff open on Trump's campaign head, and they lied to Congress, and they lied to the public. This is incredible. Total vindication in triplicate yet again. We are the platinum standard. Roger, you're the platinum standard of accuracy, and that's why they want to shut us down.
Alex, you're absolutely right. I have a piece up at USA Today, an op-ed piece that they solicited. It's kind of hard to explain this in 340 words, but I make the case that the entire rubric, the entire narrative of Russian collusion with the Trump campaign is a falsehood. And now we learn that Paul Manafort was, in fact, under surveillance. Judge Andrew Napolitano was absolutely correct. In fact, the former director of intelligence, Mr. Clapper, testified before the Senate under questioning from Senator Feinstein, admitted that the British intelligence services were surveilling Trump and his associates. This is what allowed Jeff Sessions to say only about a week ago that we, quote, we are not in possession of evidence that Donald Trump and his associates were surveilled. Notice the careful wording. Of course, they're not in possession. The Brits did this for the U.S. intelligence services, in some cases, to give deniability.
Sure, they play semantical games.
You know, this is, as you know, a standard operating procedure. But in the case of Manafort specifically, we learned yesterday that he was under surveillance prior to his involvement in the Trump campaign, that he was under surveillance during the inauguration, during the presidential transition. That means de facto that my conversations with him, Alex, were being eavesdropped on by the government. Also, his conversations with President-elect Trump. And then President
Trump, why are they admitting it? Why are they admitting it now? Because they admitted it previously. Then Trump pointed out it was illegal. So then they said they never did it. Now they're back admitting they did because Mueller is getting ready to use some of this.
I think that because they realize it is going to come out in a trial. Manafort has now been formally informed that he will be indicted. Now, whether that is an indictment for failure to file, properly under FARA with the allegation that he, while running the campaign in the Ukraine for a legitimate and recognized democratic political party in an election in which we recognized the outcome, or whether he is being indicted for money laundering or tax evasion or some other trumped-up charge, the point, of course, is all of this is just leverage. In other words, Manafort, we're going to indict you and send you to jail on this trumped-up charge if you will just admit that you were colluding with the Russians and say Donald Trump knew everything, we'll let you off the hook. In other words, they want Paul Manafort to become John Dean. They want him to lie. They want him to bear false witness against our president and say things happened that never really happened. And Alex, I can assure you, Paul Manafort is not going to do that, no matter how hard they squeeze him. If you're waiting for the headline, Manafort makes a deal, will testify against Trump, that day will never come. Never.
Now, let's expand on that. What are they going to do? Comey's committed all these crimes. He's leaked intelligence. He's done. He's got to be indicted.
Well, as I told you last night, incredibly, when the FBI broke into Manafort's apartment in Alexandria, Virginia at 5 o'clock in the morning, ostensibly looking for documents and taking away 2 notebooks of documents which they already had, they went through an extensive operation to photograph his expensive custom-made Italian suits. What kind of Mickey Mouse BS is this? Are they perhaps going to indict him for taking a business tax evasion, tax credit for the value of his suits? First of all, the IRS has disallowed that long ago.
The point is there's total desperation. Let's come back then. We're going to bring in Dr. Corsi. We all broke here, not just the NSA spying, but previous NSA spying and the documents, which notice the media didn't want to touch because those are Trump's phone numbers. Those are my numbers. That's real spying. So we need to go after Obama for his criminal activity that makes Nixon look like an angel cake. Something weird's going on. Suddenly, CNN, ABC News are all reporting that aspartame causes brain damage, diabetes, and makes you obese. CNN's reporting fluoride in utero lowers children's IQs, lowers brain sizes, and causes 15-point IQ reductions by age 7. I mean, it's just everything's coming out. It's almost like they're starting to give up, but I don't think that's happened. But it's something weird's going on, Roger Stone. I know you got to go. You're at your lawyer's office. You're finally testifying in secret next week. We'll have reporters there to cover it. But going back to Roger Stone, they're admitting the illegal spying. Trump's been vindicated. USA Today is asking you for big op-eds, basically admitting you're right. What is going on here?
Well, I think they're in retreat because their allegations of Russian collusion are collapsing before your very eyes. It's interesting, Alex, that in her book, the What Happened by Hillary Rodham Clinton, which I'm have here on me, that she yet again repeats the same 3 lies. She repeats yet again the claim that that I knew about the hacking of the Podesta email in advance. They knew that I knew about the content of WikiLeaks in October, and that my communications with someone alleging to be Guccifer 2.0 is completely innocuous and happens long after the fact. But it's the big lie technique, whether it's Adam Schiff or whether it's Hillary Clinton, they just continue to promulgate a lie. And so I'm going to have an opportunity to clean that up. Believe me, I will make the case in front of the committee that they did wiretap Trump, that they did wiretap Trump Tower, that they did surveil Trump's associates. The big lie is about to be exposed.
Boy, I sure hope somebody records that, because you know they're going to put out false statements on you, as they've done previously with the committee, on other people and lie about what you said. I mean, Schiff may say that you admit to being a Russian agent and work for the KGB and, you know, violate the secrecy of the committee. That's what they've been doing so far.
Yeah, look, this guy is a real Schiff head, and I think he's capable of just about anything. But I will be prepared, and this is not, as you know, our first rodeo. So I'm looking for a day of vindication, a day of rebuttal, and we're going to drive this point home. Donald Trump was spied on by the deep state during his presidential campaign and during his period as president-elect, and for all we know, is still being monitored as president today.
That's right, and they are so absolutely scared of that coming out because it's illegal, and they found nothing, and they've got to be panicking right now.
I think they're in full retreat, Alex, and this notion that you would go try to jack Manafort up on a charge of taking tax deductions for his expensive Italian custom-made suits, which, by the way, never fit terribly well anyway. He had a tendency to buy a silhouette that was not right for his physique. That's a whole different program. But what kind of Mickey Mouse crap is this? They told us this was about Russian collusion, Russian interference in the election, but they can't find anything of the kind on Manafort, so they seek to leverage him with some minor charge to get him to be Judas Iscariot, to turn on his president and make things up. They want him to lie. They're trying to induce him to lie.
Wow.
That's not going to happen, in my opinion.
All right, Roger, we'll be checking in with you throughout the week, and then with next week's hearing, we'll have folks there with the exclusive. Thank you. We'll be right back with Dr. Corsi, who broke the news of the whole separate NSA spying. Wow. And then we've got a bunch of guests being censored, unprecedented. Google's making its move. Not just censoring you on Google,
Visit GCN.
but going outside Google to censor.